Hi everybody, we're the Sporting Couple, and welcome to the Raw review for July 11th, 2016. One of the big problems with Raw is it's not always bad, but certain parts of the show really can stink. I thought tonight there were a couple highlights. I know you were a big fan of the Kevin Owens-Cesaro match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime those two wrestle is awesome.
Yeah, and I feel like that's sort of the secret to success on Raw is that you just happen to have great wrestlers in the ring at one time.
Mm-hmm.
But the things that Raw got wrong this week, I thought, were pretty numerous. And let me stress, this wasn't one of the all-time worst shows that they've ever had. I don't think it was that. But one of the things I do want to talk about is the main event. We didn't get wrestling in the main event. We got the McMahon galore.
Yes.
I mean, it just was this long, plodding promo
like
between
15 minutes?
all three. I think so, about 15 minutes. All three McMahons in the ring together, and in the end, they tell us something that we already thought was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That Shane would end up running one show and Stephanie would end up running the other show, and they acted like it was a giant revelation. And but this is something that WWE likes to do. They like to pretend that something that we knew was very predictable is a big deal. It was a huge waste of time, a terrible main event, a waste of having Vince McMahon appear on the show, which is something that doesn't happen, so it takes away from the specialness of it. I just thought a really terrible main event.
When he was announced that he was going to be there, I was like, oh well, who cares, really? Yeah,
because, I mean, realistic, I think for longtime fans and anyone who watches Raw with any bit of intelligence, you sort of know that the GM is one of the most pointless positions on the show.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no benefit to being the GM.
I enjoyed Vicky as the GM.
Sure. But Vicky got great heat and that was nice, but there's nothing of value coming out of this moment. I just look at it like why did I have to get my time wasted by this of all things? And I understand that they have 3 hours to fill, and a large part of what Raw is trying to waste time, which is sad, but it really is. That's what Raw is. Like they are trying to waste your time. But I thought that was a pretty egregious one. I can imagine like the guy at USA over there with his finger on the button, and he's in charge of the overrun. He's clicking over, and he's like, 3 people are talking in the ring?
Oh,
and this is one has to run over 10 o'clock?
It was crazy.
He's just sitting there, like, waiting to press it, hit it.
Something else that bothered me, as usual, listen, I watched NXT, and so I was a big fan of Charlotte. And she got the big call up to the big leagues, and ever since then, I've been very disappointed with how they've handled her. Mm-hmm. They've given her a lot to say. I don't think that somebody like her that's not very strong with mic skills should be given so much to say. Mm-hmm. Also, my problem with the whole women's fight last night was that Dana Brooke was so green. And she was fighting Sasha Banks, which she is not green. That girl she can go.
Yeah, weirdly they decided of all times, you know what? Let's let the women get 15 minutes of wrestling.
I know,
tonight.
and they gave it to Dana.
But the crowd wants Sasha Banks for the most part. Like I think Sasha Banks isn't quite as over as a lot of people think she is, but people do generally want to see her on the show. But I think one of the things that really drives me nuts about it is, that move to bring up Dana Brooke. Like, she wasn't quite ready to come up, and I understand they did it because of injury. They had Emma with her originally, who certainly was perfect for that role.
Yeah, they fit together pretty well.
Like, it's weird for me to say, like, I'd rather them brought up Alexa Bliss. I mean, she is certainly not a great wrestler by any means, but she's nowhere near as green and a little bit more ready for a spot like that, especially promo-wise.
I don't know. Lesser of two evils.
Yeah, I mean, just, everything with Charlotte has sort of been, I guess, a bit of a thud on the main roster.
Yeah, I mean, even, watching the match last night, even her on the sidelines wasn't interesting.
No.
Which is sad. Like,
no,
I really like Charlotte. She puts on some classic matches when she's given, 30 minutes.
I agree. I certainly do. The other thing I think I really... I found inexplicable was the New Day Bray Wyatt bit.
Yes. Their take on Final Deletion.
So, we saw Final Deletion, and Final Deletion wasn't great. But you know what it was?
No.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was kind of fun.
Had a narrative.
Sure, I enjoyed it in the same way. Like, I enjoyed Plan 9 from Outer Space. It's so bad it's a good thing, but I still enjoyed it. I'm not trying to knock. I stayed. Matt Hardy, congratulations, Jeff Hardy. You entertained me for 15 minutes, which is more than I can say for that whole 2 hours of TNA.
It was at least lighthearted and funny.
Yeah, it's certainly so. And I think, like, the story, while not intelligent, for Christ's sake, at some point, there's a drone with a hologram of Matt Hardy that shows up. Yeah. But the story had a nice, A leads to B, leads to C, leads to D.
Absolutely.
And then, it was fine. Like, I followed it, so it was okay. The remote match, I guess, with New Day and the Wyatt family is none of those things. It's not particularly crazy.
No.
It's not particularly interesting. It doesn't make a ton of sense. Actually, it doesn't make any sense. The New Day are just kind of there. They just show up, and that's it. Like, there's no other gag to it. Like, they're just kind of in there, and there's some brawling, and then it's just kind of over. It's poorly shot. It has a lousy, instant filter that you sort of get off the internet to give it that old-timey damaged film look. And to top it off, it's really poorly edited. Like, there's a whole sequence where, like, Xavier Woods is hiding behind a tree, and Bray Wyatt is slowly walking up behind him. And, like, they're trying to build tension, and none of it works because it's cut together so poorly in a way that doesn't fit.
It feels like it was done by a film student.
But that's the thing, like, WWE is good at that part. Like, I don't know why they did that. I thought, like, if they just thought, like, oh, this will make it edgy, it wasn't. It just stunk. It was terrible.
Yeah, that's another thing I was disappointed in. I was disappointed in the fact that, like, they kind of were trying to build something with Xavier and Bray Wyatt, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
Nothing. So, nothing happened with it. The New Day just walks away from the whole thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what's the point? Why are we all here? Why?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't find anything I really liked in that whole bit, which is just such a shame. I think the only other thing about the show that I really appreciated was Darren Young getting a little bit of payoff.
Yeah.
Like, of all the, like, it feels like it's been years, but I'm sure it's been a couple of months. We've been getting the Make Darren Young Great Again.
Yeah.
And I had to eat my words because I've been saying for weeks, like, this is never going to pay off.
Well, I didn't understand it.
They're just, well, I mean, I don't think any human understands
I tried to understand it because I liked both of those guys, but it was strange. I'd like to see what they're going to do, though, with the first gay wrestler, openly gay wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, there's an opportunity to make him the Intercontinental Champion. I don't know if they'll seize it, but I mean, it's not like The Miz is a world beater as the IC champ.
It's something to back.
Yeah, It's not that big a deal, but at least, like I said, we got a little payoff, because that's always one of my big pet peeves with WWE, when they just don't pay anything off. When they tease something and just drop it because they get bored with it. Or
they're notorious for that.
Yeah, it's just something that they like to do. So I was at least happy to see that. Generally, another thing that I guess I have to talk about is we don't normally watch Raw live.
Ugh.
We just don't do. We usually watch it on Hulu because we're cable cutters like a lot of people, and it's just easier. And we found that it was 90 minutes, and it's something that I think is just obviously easier to consume. Kind of out the crap.
Mm-hmm.
Watching it live was such a slog. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it. I felt like I felt like Nancy in Nightmare on Elm Street going up the stairs, and my feet sink into the stairs, and I can't get up. That's how I felt trying to make it through 3 hours of
there was
Raw.
some point I was just on my phone, like, reading news articles. Because it was so boring.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing I was really surprised by, because we were just like, you know what, let's watch it live. We got an opportunity to. And, I mean, it really beat us down. It wasn't helped that the show had lulls, but I can't imagine that if the show had been better, I would have been a little more pleased with the 3-hour running time. Like, I guess I was just surprised how much I felt it after almost, what I'd say, a couple of years of watching just the Hulu version and catching the missing matches on YouTube.
Which is the way to go.
Yeah, it really is.
Honestly.
Like, if you're out there, you're watching the live broadcast, stop.
Watch Hulu.
Like, I don't care if you like to live tweet the whole thing. It's not worth your time.
It's not.
Hey, like, watch it on Hulu, and you'll have a better appreciation for the show.
Yeah.
Because the show never, ever should have gone 3 hours, but that's a topic for a different time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a topic for a different time. But something I wanted to bring up, because I was just sort of, oh, my God, this show stinks, when you have to watch it like that. I think what I'd like to see going forward from Raw is just a general ability to not waste my time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like that is the number one goal. There's a draft in a couple weeks, and they really want to waste time until that happens, and then they have to do some stuff after the draft. Like, we very much feel like Holding Pattern City. Like, SmackDown has been that way. And I know SmackDown will probably pick up once there's a draft, but I don't know how much we're going to get until that moment.
Yeah.
So, like this SmackDown coming up pre-draft, I would expect absolutely nothing. Now, the next show we'll watch live is that draft, because that's interesting, and it's only 2 hours, so that's a helpful thing. But like I feel like we just have a wasteland until we get to the draft on the 24th.
For me, I would like to see, once again, some more strong women's matches. I'm sick to death of seeing one match a night. We watched the entire 3-hour broadcast, and there was one match.
Yeah, there was one match, yeah.
And it should have never been that long.
But they did give it time. I mean, granted the competitors weren't, I mean, Dana Brooke wasn't really quite up to it. But, I mean, they did give the match time.
They got a lot of women back there, though. They got a lot of women back there and a lot of talented women that they brought up from NXT. So I would like to see them do something with it.
No, I mean, I certainly agree. There's no excuse for some of the work in the division anymore.
Nope.
You know, it can be better, but once again, this is a common theme we say.
What happened to the Divas Revolution?
The Divas Revolution ended sadly with a thud, but you know what we have now is at least we have better talent there. You know, that's the one thing you have to be thankful for. We don't have Christy Hemmings and Ashley Maceros.
I am thankful for that.
You know, we don't have. You know, I mean, I know Rosa Mendes is still with the company, but she's not a wrestler. She's a total diva star. She's not with them anymore. I mean, for the most part, those women they're not really in the ring anymore.
Right.
Eva Marie is very separate from everything else they do. So be thankful for that. And that's a sad thing to say, but be thankful for that. So
I guess.
Yeah, I guess. All right, I guess. Cautious optimism for the future of Raw. But as always, it'll probably stink and I'll be disappointed. And I'll question, why the hell do I continue watching professional wrestling?
Why do we do this to ourselves?
Yeah, why do I torture myself? That's our title show. Why do we torture ourselves?
Glutton for punishments.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week, and we hope Raw's better then.